And Rev Zechariah A Jackson from the church. Oh, what's happening? We're out here because of the situation that happened in Staten Island and how the grand jury could not find no reason to bring the officer to trial. Who am I talking to?
My name is Brother Kenyatta.
Kenyatta?
Yes. African. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
African brother.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Me and you too.
Yeah, well, yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I would never say I'm not. When I have a long sojourn in the state of Georgia, my people come out of Georgia, and we're down there for about 400 years. So I want to take something this year too. Okay. How do you feel at this point now, if you will, with all that's being done? Is there, with the police department, do you think that, can we believe in law and order at all, Brother Kenyatta?
Well, I think if there's going to be some law and order, I think it's going to have to take place through the active work and the active protest and the active initiation of the people.
Sure.
The people. It's not something that's going to be done automatically. I don't think anything down through history ever came without a challenge. And so that's what we're going to have to do.
Well, let me ask you this right here. I mean, with the friction that seems to be against a black folk in the police department, I mean, if we don't have law and order, what do we, if we can't call on, and I talked to two young men earlier that said that they were frightened of the police, that they don't know whether to call the police that if something is wrong or they're right, they don't know, they're frightened of the police department. So how do we do this?
Well, they have a reason to be. They have a reason to be, and for us to tell them that you shouldn't be would be a disservice to them.
Sure.
Because the reality is, I mean, we're talking about reality.
Yeah, reality. No fantasy.
We're not talking about, the law as written, but the law as applied.
Sure, exactly.
And so therefore, we have to teach our children the truth.
Okay.
Right now, there's a war going on against the black community.
And why is that?
And that's because those who are in power, those who are in power, feel that the black community is expendable, that they can do what they want to young black men and young black women and get away with it without being prosecuted under their own law.
Okay.
And so therefore, that's the reason why these young people are out here like this. Which is beautiful. I love to see it. It's sad that it have to be under these conditions. But the reality is that it's a beautiful thing to see young people come together from all walks of life and challenge the system in this way. And so I think
why
we
is
have
so much?
Yes.
It seems to me that so much is against the black people. Why is it with the police? I mean, is there a secret? Is there a conspiracy against the black folk in America?
Well, let me try to say this in a nutshell. I mean, because that's it can be a long conversation.
Sure.
But if we analyze the history of policing, if we analyze the history of police in this country, we see that it traces back to slavery.
Sure.
And if we look at what the purpose of the police was, when they brought the Irish over here, and the aristocrats, the British, owned the land, and so therefore they needed someone to act as a buffer between them and the have-nots, or them and the slaves.
Okay.
And so therefore, their job was not to protect and serve the slaves. Their job was to keep the slaves in line. And so, and keep them in check. Going forward, the powers that be. And so there's nothing changed, and that's the reason why you had the Irish to still control all the police departments. Because this is just an evolution of what has already taken place. And so keeping that in mind, the history of something, therefore we understand better what the present condition and situation is.
When they talk about desensitized training in the police department, do you think that the police need to be trained any more than what they are?
Depends on who's talking about training.
Okay.
And we're talking about a system that's corrupt. There's a saying in African tradition. There's a saying that was taken by the legal profession. It's called the fruits of the poisonous tree. They're referring to the fact that if the root of the tree is poison, is rotten, then the fruit that it bears is rotten too.
Yes, that's right.
So you can't separate the fruit from the roots. And that's what we're trying to do when we talk about putting a patch on this corrupt system. This is a system that has to be changed.
Yeah.
But it has to be changed to the core. To the core.
Yeah.
Not just one police officer or two police officers, because what happened with Michael Brown or what happened with Eric Gardner is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's right. That's
it's happening all around the country.
Yeah.
And it's happening in all age groups. And it's also happening to young women.
That's right.
You know? And so we have to put it in context and understand that this is not just an isolated incident or situation. It's not one officer's bad decision or racist attitude. This is something that's systemic. It's something that's all the way to the foundations of the way policing is handled in this country and the way politics is handled in this country.
Let me say this right here, and I'm glad you brought up the tree analogy because my family comes from the state of Georgia, and we have moved trees. There's a way to turn a tree because trees are traditionally, the history of a tree comes from the ocean, from the water.
Okay.
And wherever that light glide is how that tree turned. Now, I myself in the state of New Jersey have turned trees that other people didn't think they could turn with rope and time, with the sun that will draw them a different way. So how do we change this system, or do we have to make a new system?
There's no doubt that it has to be uprooted. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that because a lot of people aren't ready to do the work that's necessary in order for that to happen.
What can we do to make it happen?
Well, once again, the first thing that we're going to have to do is take advantage of time.
Okay.
See, because these times are happening for a reason.
Okay.
This is creator talk. This is not something that's just happening, you know what I'm saying, because a young black man got shot by police because, they thought he was doing something wrong in Ferguson. A young black man, got strangled over here, or another young man got shot
for selling cigarettes.
Or a young man got shot because he had a toy gun, or a young man got shot inside of Walmart inside Ohio because he was buying a toy gun for his son. All of these things are happening for a reason. And so what we have to understand is that
anytime you got a gun, you're a threat.
It's not even a question of having a gun. You don't have to have a gun. Eric Gardner didn't have a gun. Trayvon Martin didn't have a gun.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that it's not whether or not you have a gun, it's whether or not you're black. First and foremost. First and foremost.
But the brother from Florida, Trayvon Martin, the guy that killed him wasn't even a police officer.
Wasn't a police officer, but he had that mentality.
Yeah, the mentality. And that's just good enough to go over.
Yes. He had the same mentality that a lot of people have inside this country. They feel that if a young man is black, then he don't have no rights. And we can do what we want to. But
let me ask you this: how is it that a person can go from this is my football team or this is my basketball team? You understand? Which everybody seems to charm in and say, I'm with the Giants, or I'm, the Nets is my team, or whatever it may be. But then on the flip side of it, how is it that they just change their personality when it comes to ordinary life?
Well, once again, we have a lot of our people that are in darkness mentally. They don't really understand what they should be doing with their time. So any of us that can, spend, 18 hours, 20 hours a week in front of a television watching sports and getting hype about it, when these type of conditions exist with our people, then what can you say? What can you say? I mean, that's the mentality. That's the type of conditioning that has taken place, and that's where their minds are at. So what we have to do, those of us that are serious, those of us that are really have a serious concern about ourselves as well as the young people in our community, it's up to us. It's up to us to do what's necessary, because back in the 60s, the early 70s, it was the same thing. You had people who just weren't trying to stand up and change the conditions. And then there's those that are, Elijah Muhammad years ago said something, and a man asked him, how are we going to deal with this situation with so many of our people that are in darkness? And he told him very simply, go to the believers first. So that's what we have to do. Go to the people who believe. Go to the people that care about this.
That believe will change.
Those are the ones that we have to bring out. Those are the ones we have to be concerned about. And the rest, like the followers they'll follow. I gotta go, brother.
All right, and good luck in school, and keep on working hard, brother. We need you. We need you to count.
Take care.
All right. Okay, as you heard it from the brother.
Yeah, how you doing, sir?
American Rev Zechariah A Jackson from the church.
How you doing this night?
How you doing? Good to see you.
You're good.